Good morning and welcome to the video conference MSCA 2020.HR, Mariya Skłodowska-Curie Actions, Impact and Future Challenges. My name is Thomas Farnell. I am an expert in higher education research policy, and I will be acting as the moderator of today's conference. And I'm looking forward to the discussions we will all be having in our rich program today. As you know, this conference is organized by the Croatian Ministry of Science and Education and the Croatian Agency for Mobility and EU Programs. And in order to provide us with an introduction to the conference and the necessary policy background to the topic of today's conference, it's my pleasure to announce that we have two distinguished opening speakers for the conference. And these will be firstly, the Minister of Science and Education of the Republic of Croatia, Professor Blaženka Divjak. And this will be followed by an opening speech by the EU Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture, Education and Youth, Mrs. Mariya, Gabriel. So I would now like to invite the Minister of Education and Science of the Republic of Croatia, Professor Blaženka Divjak, to give us some opening words. Minister Divjak, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Good morning, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, dear Commissioner Gabriel. It is a great honor to welcome you all on behalf of the Croatian Presidency of the Council of the EU to this video conference. Naturally, I would be much happier if it were possible to greet you all in person here in Zagreb. And it would have been a great pleasure also to share with you the warm atmosphere and hospitality of Zagreb and Croatia in general. The coronavirus pandemic has caused a lot of changes, forcing us to adopt and find new ways of conducting business. The Croatian presidency piloted some new approaches. We were pushed by necessity, but this was also a true learning experience for all of us. And I can say that the lessons learned from this pandemic have a positive side as well, and have also positive impact, give us an excellent opportunity to be more efficient in delivering on our priorities. The pandemic has also brought into focus the importance of cooperation and knowledge sharing between countries, research groups and researchers. This was also one of the main messages from the EU research ministers at our last meeting in May, also via video conference. With that in mind, this conference has become even more important given that the Mariya Skłodowska-Curie actions have a crucial role in the mobility of researchers. The Mariya Skłodowska-Curie actions contribute to excellent research, boosting jobs, growth and investments in EU. These actions enhance the flow of knowledge across different countries, sector of the economy and scientific disciplines. But even talents are distributed evenly, the distribution of research opportunities is not balanced throughout the EU. Therefore, the circulation of knowledge, people and innovations within EU is all the more important. Once again, the COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated the power of working together and the importance of mobilizing the full potential of our research communities. This conference will greatly contribute to the debate on the importance of mobility and brain circulation. This is the key priority of the Croatian presidency in the field of research as well. I truly and wholeheartedly feel that it is important for the EU to move towards finding solutions that enable a fair and balanced brain circulation across the EU, as well as to attract and retain talents. This is the only way forward. If Europe wants to excel globally, it has to start by mobilizing the full potential and by becoming the most attractive continent for researchers across the globe. The Croatian presidency put a lot of work in this priority with the help, of course, of many of you. We cooperated closely with the European Commission and the Member States as well, and as the key results of our work, this conference will present a key document by which the Republic of Croatia wants to round out the problem of brain circulation. The document is called Zagreb Call for Action on Brain Circulation. We truly hope that the incoming presidencies will recognize its main messages in their work on enhancing the European research area. Brain circulation and mobility of researchers may sound challenging in the time of restricted mobility. However, circulation of ideas and data sharing within Europe and the world will be crucial for future crisis preventions. Finally, this is a timely moment to reflect on how to embed the lessons learned from the coronavirus crisis into the debate on brain circulation. Before turning to the Commissioner Gabriel, I would like to thank the Commission for its achievements within Mariya Skłodowska-Curie actions so far. It is one of the most visible and recognizable instruments of the framework program, and Croatia will keep supporting its strong positioning within Horizon Europe. Thank you, Mariya, for supporting this conference and for advocating its importance during the last months. I wish you all an interesting and productive conference with meaningful outputs on MSCA's role in increasing the impact of the EU research and innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Divjak, for your warm welcome and for emphasizing the priorities of Croatia in its current presidency of the Council of the European Union with regards to mobility and brain circulation. We will be joined in a moment by EU Commissioner Gabriel, who will deliver her opening remarks and officially open our conference. In the short time that we have while she joins us, let me just provide a quick overview of today's rich agenda. So the conference today will include one keynote speech, 4 panel discussions, and also 8 nominations for the MSCA awards and 4 good practice video pitches by MSCA fellows. Thematically, the conference will be focused, as emphasized by Minister Divjak, on the importance of mobility and brain circulation, both for excellent research and also for research impact, primarily in terms of fostering innovation and knowledge exchange. The questions that we will address in this conference will be: what policies can help encourage fair and balanced brain circulation? What working conditions need to be ensured by countries to attract and retain excellent researchers? And how to address, as Minister Divjak emphasized, the divide that does exist in Europe in terms of research performance and participation in framework programs of the EU in the area of research. And finally, what can be expected in the future in terms of what young researchers will be expected to do, and what new skills will they need to develop in order to address an increasingly complex environment for early career researchers. But to give us a more comprehensive overview of this policy background, it's my pleasure to invite the EU Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture, Education and Youth, Mrs. Mariya Gabriel. Commissioner Gabriel, welcome to the conference. The floor is yours.
Hello, dear Minister, dear Blaženka, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it is a great pleasure for me to open this presidency conference on the Mariya Skłodowska-Curie actions. First, I would like to thank again Minister Blaženka and the Croatian Presidency for making it possible for us to come together virtually today. We are demonstrating once again our resilience and our adaptability. And we are living through unprecedented circumstances. At the same time, even while we are in lockdown, our researchers work so hard so that we can fight back. But the process leading to discovery, from not knowing to knowing, is an uncertain one. Coping with the uncertainty of research is all the harder when confronted with the uncertainty of living through a pandemic. And this crisis has put a spotlight on the research community, and the community has come through. There is no praise strong enough for their contribution to a healthier, more sustainable, more prosperous society. And as our researchers show incredible resilience in the fight against COVID-19, we need to increase our efforts to support them. Not only does it send the right message, but it is also the right thing to do. And this is what science is about. It is not just about the desire to know more. It is about the will to give back. Knowledge is power. So those that seek it are empowering our society. And the Mariya Skłodowska-Curie Actions is a remarkable program in this regard, as it supports our researchers to venture beyond their fields, to develop professionally and to achieve greater impact. It helps them to understand more than just their research and interact with other disciplines, as well as to communicate beyond technical language and to imagine what new doors their research can open, not just in terms of new studies, but also in terms of new real-world action. The best way to achieve this is through mobility, which helps our researchers become better equipped, not just to know more, but to change more based on the knowledge they just discovered. Mobility takes people into a new situation, a new country, a new research community. Through it, we empower excellent researchers to work across sectors and disciplines. They develop new skills so they can make the most of their scientific output, developing their network and working together. Brain circulation, as we often call it, helps build communities that are not just local, but include all those that have the talent to add to our collective knowledge, to our imagination, and have the will to make a difference. And the Mariya Skłodowska-Curie actions do precisely that. They do so from the bottom up, being open to all areas of research and new promising areas in science. In this respect, the MSCA is one of the major programs promoting freedom of research in Europe, enabling researchers and their host institutions to follow their curiosity independently from finding constraints and leading to open science. As many as 140,000 researchers, supported by the actions, have continued to develop their careers, also developing the skills to break through the challenges of scientific impact. We must look at them not only individually, but also as a community that responds to major challenges. An example of that are the 100 MSCA projects directly related to COVID-19. We need these researchers to work together, to be connected, and to develop the skills they need to succeed. This is where the Marie Curie Alumni Association also plays an important role. Excellence thrives in a community that supports it. So we need to make sure that the research innovation reaches all corners of Europe. We need to make sure that programs like the MSCA support all the diverse regions of our continent. And this brings us to today's main topic. The MSCA, much like Horizon 2020 in general, show that while we have talented researchers throughout European regions, the same cannot be said yet of institutions and infrastructures that can properly support them. To quote Minister Divjak, excellence is everywhere, but opportunities are not. Sadly, there is a northwest-southeast divide in Europe. Countries from the latter participate in our actions less often and have a lower success rate in securing grants. This is a worrying trend. not least because it leads to the imbalanced movement of our best and brightest to where opportunities exist for them, allowing them to give the world the fruits of their talent, but impeding them from doing so back home. The European Union is about fairness and prosperity. Therefore, we need to balance these movements and invest to wider participation to the regions that are still catching up. Regions that give us talented young people, but that cannot yet help them flourish. Only then can we achieve balance-based circulation with benefits for all. And it is important to acknowledge that this issue goes well beyond the research, innovation, and education, as do the solutions to it. We have several things to do in order to address it. First, we need to upgrade our research innovation infrastructure, where it is not able to offer the opportunities our talents need. I do not mean only labs and universities, but also SMEs, where talented young people can, if they wish, to turn towards hands-on work. Second, we also need reforms, strengthening synergies with smart specialization strategies. Every member state has challenges to tackle, which are different from one country to another, and the European Union is there to support them. Three, furthermore, we need efficient use of the European structural and investment funds to help reduce disparities across the EU. Take the European Social Fund, for example. Member states can use it to invest in skills, professional development, and social inclusion, developing the regions that find it harder to retain their researchers. And last but not least, we need to make links and share excellence. The EU invests much in connecting the pockets of excellence we have across our continent with our regions. We focus a lot on expanding these networks because we want the research community to match with the European community. And we want to launch initiatives for territorial cohesion, place-based growth, and regional development. This is the case of the European Institute of Innovation and Technology and the future innovation ecosystems of the European Innovation Council. The European Universities Initiative is another example of how the European education area also contributes to connecting pockets of excellence to the diverse regions of our Union. This initiative is setting up inter-universities campuses, bringing together institutions from all corners of the European Union. And this means that the best academic resources will no longer be exclusive to small pockets, but will become more accessible to institutions in other regions. Let me stress the EU is about prosperity, but prosperity means not having to choose between giving up your calling or giving up stability and family. It is no accident that inclusiveness is a strategic objective of the revamped European research area. We are working on developing a European framework for the research profession and career. We must address the precariousness of early career researchers in academia, boosting their salaries under the principle of equal pay for equal work. We are also building on the successes of the Charter and Code for Researchers, the Euraccess portal, creating a European talent management platform that will increase capacity, improve governance, and monitor reforms at national level. We cannot focus on the macroeconomic impact of research innovation as a whole, while ignoring the communities their most precious resource, their young people living. And in this context, we as a Commission, we have taken several balancing measures over the last years. First, the MSCA Widening Fellowships pilot, which supports countries lagging behind in terms of mobility figures. Widening Fellowships aim to give another chance to excellent researchers so they can undertake their fellowship in a so-called widening country, a country that has lower participation in the framework program. The analysis of the first 2 years of the pilot has been extremely positive. The number of funded widening countries proposals has increased by 49% between 2018 and 2019. That means that the success rate of widening countries has substantially increased. In 2019, it was almost matching the average success rate of countries taken altogether. By the end of this year, 2020, around 120 such fellowships should be provided in this scheme. In addition to bringing researchers from all over Europe to the research innovation communities of countries catching up, widening fellowships help return researchers to their country of origin. Almost 60% of the widening fellowships allow researchers to stay in the widening country where they live, and nearly 40% of widening fellowships involve a researcher with the same nationality as the widening country host institution. Support to widening countries does not end with more funding opportunities for their researchers. It also demands guidance and recognition. After all, the MSCA are still guided by excellence, and excellence cannot exist without good advice and the recognition of good practice. As for guidance, I would like to highlight the excellent work of the Mariya Skłodowska-Curie Actions Network of National Contact Points, which, through the Net for Mobility Plus project, provides guidance and support so that applications are better, boosting participation, and to recognize those that they have very high evaluation scores, yet are not able to be funded by Horizon 2020. We have the MSCA Seal of Excellence. The seal flags great projects that the MSCA were not able to fund, but which would enrich us all. Where were they to receive funding from another source? I know that here you have a lot to say, and I will be very glad to listen your remarks, your experiences on this, because we are here and we would like really to have better instruments and better initiatives. And at least when I talk about Seal of Excellence, I must share the information that 9 member states already have schemes in place to support the Seal of Excellence awardees with alternative funding sources. 5 of these countries are widening countries, and among them, they are using European structural and investment funds. I can only encourage more countries to set up MSCA Seal of Excellence schemes and explore the possibility of using structural funds to help researchers get their projects funded. And as for the future, I want us to continue to work on this issue and the Horizon Europe too. I want to make widening country participation in MSCA co-fund projects easier. Widening countries need regional, national, and international training programs. This is essential for the development of their research communities. And the MSCA will also continue to lead by example, spreading best practice across the EU. We'll build on the positive experience of the widening fellowships and learn from a future study to map brain circulation across the European research area. So, dear Minister, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for bringing this important issue to the fore. Researchers are vital and our key assets, especially these days facing a pandemic. We need the research community to stay connected in order to give us the adequate answers to our societal challenges. This means researchers need to be able to communicate to us about what they do. They need to keep in mind our daily challenges so they know how to help. They need to connect to each other so they can work together. And they need to stay connected to the communities that saw them grow up, that invested in them. And we and the European Commission, with my team, we are committed to making this happen. Thank you very much. Allow me to wish you a very, very fruitful discussions today.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Gabriel, for these inspiring opening remarks. As you mentioned, researchers have been put to the test in these difficult times, but have also shown incredible resilience and the value that they bring to our societies through, as you also mentioned, these hundreds of projects addressing the COVID-19 crisis. And as you also mentioned, which was a very strong message about how there's more support necessary for researchers, and you mentioned more infrastructure, better research infrastructure, more reforms, more balanced development through the use of European structural and investment funds, and also fostering excellence in a more balanced way throughout Europe. And your opening speech made an excellent introduction to all the topics we will have today, and showing the importance of the MSCA in addressing many of these challenges.